So Wolfman is not only a new horror film, but it's also the reboot of, well, The Wolfman, co-written and directed by Leigh Whannell. In the film, we follow a family who, after they receive some news, they relocate to Oregon, which happens to be the childhood home of the father's character. However, once they get to this childhood home, not only are they stalked, but they're also attacked by, guess what? A werewolf. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say, welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to them. It's a feature video, or it's a feature review, reaction, a top 5, a top 10, or whatever I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to miss the cool stuff I have coming your way. And for those of you coming back to my channel, by the way, welcome back, everybody. You have no idea how happy to see your faces once again. And let us hear our conversation below. Are you looking forward to Wolfman? Have you seen the film? What did you think of the movie? Let me know below. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into Wolfman.
Excellent!
If you all saw my top 5 most anticipated horror films of 2025, you all know that this movie, Wolfman, was my number 3. I have been very excited for this film, especially knowing that, well, the reason I was so excited for this film was because it was directed by Leigh Whannell, who, if you ask me, is one of the best filmmakers working today. Despite this only being his 4th film, I mean, Leigh Whannell has made some cool and some badass movies. The Invisible Man, if you ask me, is one of the best modern horror remakes out there. The way that he brought that film and that character and the idea of that character to the modern realm of filmmaking, I thought was just an absolute genius concept and just an overall genius execution. But, and yes, I will not deny this, knowing this movie was coming out in January, there were some red flags and there were some alarms released because, as you guys are all full well aware, January films, especially January horror films, not the greatest sign. But once again, I'll reiterate my point once again. Leigh Whannell was the main reason why I was excited to see this film, especially knowing that, once again, how great it was his take of this modern retelling of The Invisible Man. And guys, I am very happy to say that Wolfman is not only a good January horror film, but if you ask me, it is a really good and almost great January horror film. Christopher Abbott as the father of this family, I thought he was great in the film. Julia Garner as the mother, and Matilda. You know what? Let me look up her name really quick because I feel really bad because she was great. This kid was great. Matilda Firth, you were terrific in the film, and she is definitely a standout in this movie. Abso-freaking-lutely. This dynamic is really the heart and soul of this movie, and that is the emotional core of this movie lies specifically within the father-daughter relationship. What Leigh Whannell does with his take of this character, and I will say this much right now, with how he executes his take on the character, I don't necessarily think that everybody is going to possibly on board with this, but for me personally, how he tackled this thing and the best way to describe his take, basically imagine if Leigh Whannell did his own remake of The Fly, but he does it with Wolfman instead, and you can get a clear sense of what this movie is doing throughout the runtime. Because here's the thing, what Leigh Whannell does with this movie so good is that this is essentially a movie in which you see a man not only trying to protect his family against this other Wolfman trying to get into this house and massacre everybody, but at the same time, he is also becoming a Wolfman as well. Part of the great horror in this movie is seeing this family, seeing their father, you know, the daughter with her father and a wife with her husband, seeing this person that is taking care of them slowly transforming into this thing that is going to haunt them. For me, at least, this aspect about the movie for me works well, and that was because of the dynamic between this family, especially the main relationship of this movie, the father and the daughter dynamic, and because I cared about them and their relationship, I thought this movie came off really well as a tragic horror film. Something else in particular that I loved about this movie is how they tackle the technical aspects. Visuals and sound, oh my god. The sound design in this movie is fantastic. One of my favorite sequences in this movie, and again, I'm not going to give it away, it is a sequence where a character is doing some investigating and they're trying to find out what the source is, and oh my god, this is something that I wish I could have seen in a Dolby theater, because I can only imagine how great the sequence would have played in a Dolby theater, or even more so in an IMAX theater. It just becomes scarier and scarier in a different sense altogether, in which once you see the film, you'll understand where I'm coming from and what I'm saying, but man, how the sequence played out, I thought was so brilliantly done. One of my favorite aspects about this movie when it comes not only down to the cinematography, but just the visuals altogether, is how they play with point of view, like just the perspectives altogether. Like guys, there are sequences in which you see how things play out, not only in terms of sound, but visualizing how the different perspectives work out. Like in particular, guys, there is a great sequence in which it slowly shows you how people will perceive things, to where how Christopher Abbott's character is perceiving things, knowing what is going on with this character. How these sequences are done, I not only thought were so great, but on a character-driven level, I thought they worked really, really well. Another thing in particular that I really dug about this movie was the film's sense of atmosphere. Leigh Whannell and once again the cinematographer, the production designer, do such a great job of making you feel like you're isolated and knowing that you do not know what to do out there in the woods, knowing that there is this thing out there trying to ravage you and trying to massacre you to absolutely no end. The prosthetics and the practical effects in this movie, especially in one particular scene, really had me doing this. Holy flarking shnikes.
Well, that's just fucking great!
But does it reach levels of the Invisible Man greatness? It doesn't. Julia Gardner as the mom, I feel like that she could have done more in this movie, and here's the thing. This movie is only about an hour and a half. It's a little over 90 minutes long. I really wish this movie was at least, I would say, maybe closer to the 2-hour mark. Once it gets to a certain place, this movie, I feel like that Julia Gardner's character doesn't do the amount I feel like that she could do in this movie, given the circumstances of what is actually going on in this movie. There were certain parts into which you can tell that it was trying to go somewhere, and it just doesn't quite get there the way that it unfortunately would like to get there. It got me, but at the same time, it didn't have that release I was waiting for, the release I was hoping for.
And here we go.
So overall, does Wolfman reach up to the greatness that is the Invisible Man? Unfortunately, it does not. But at the same time, what Leigh Whannell does here with his new take on this IP and this character, I thought was still really, really good. Not to mention as well that it has great performances, a really good story with some kick-ass practical effects. All in all, I'm gonna give Wolfman a 3.75 out of 5. Sure, while it is a step down from The Invisible Man, at the same time, Wolfman is still a really, really good reboot of the Wolfman. Definitely check it out in theaters, guys. It is a really good movie. I hope you enjoyed my review of Wolfman. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike this review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to share my previous 2 reviews, please click right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.